In the mountains of Nepal and Turkey, bees are making honey, but not the kind you'd want on your breakfast toast. This is mad honey, made from the nectar of rhododendron flowers, and it contains natural toxins called grainotoxins, which can make animals and even people hallucinate, stumble, and feel strangely intoxicated. But how do they get that sweet, sticky gold? To answer that question, we went straight to the source. Okay, so I got a little carried away. We actually found this footage of real honey hunters in action, and it's insane. These brave adventurers scale sheer cliffs to find the elusive honey, and if that doesn't sound scary enough, just wait until you hear what happens next. These guys aren't just your average honeybees. They're special because they collect their pollen and nectar from these crazy rhododendron flowers, which contain these chemicals called grainotoxins. These toxins are so powerful that they've even been used as a sedative by some cultures. So if you're thinking about giving mad honey a try, you might want to think again. Not only does it come from a very dangerous plant, but it can also make you feel some really weird things. When consumed in small amounts, mad honey can cause euphoria, but too much, and it turns dangerous. People who have drunk large quantities of mad honey have reported feeling like they were drunk or high. They see double, and their coordination goes out the window. Some people even end up hallucinating. But don't worry, the honey itself isn't poisonous. Once it's boiled, the toxic compounds evaporate, leaving behind a sweet treat that's safe to eat. But before it reaches your bowl, it has to go through an exciting journey. The honey hunting season starts in April and May, when the rhododendron trees are in bloom and the bees are hard at work collecting nectar. These special bees are actually known as honeybees, Apis mellifera, scutellata. Their hives can be found in mountainous regions of Nepal, Turkey, and other parts of the world. Each hive is home to thousands of bees, and they all work together to collect nectar from the rhododendron flowers. But this isn't easy. As anyone who's tried to collect honey from a beehive knows, bees can be very protective of their precious cargo. But these honeybees are up to the task. They use their fuzzy bodies to trap the pollen and then bring it back to the hive. Once the pollen is collected, the bees begin the long process of turning it into honey. They pass the pollen from bee to bee until it reaches the right consistency. Then they store it in their honeycomb to be enjoyed later. But don't think for a second that getting this honey is easy. There are many dangers that honey hunters face when they go up mountains to retrieve the honey. The terrain is tough and the weather can be unpredictable. But these brave souls are willing to put themselves in harm's way to get their hands on the unique honey. Some experienced hunters use ropes to rappel down the cliffs where the hives are located. Others simply climb down using their bare hands and feet. Once they reach the hive, they carefully cut it out of the cliff using a knife and then take it back to their camp. But why take such a dangerous journey? Well, for starters, mad honey is really hard to get. That makes it really valuable. In fact, some people believe that mad honey has healing properties. It's also just a rare and unique product that's worth the risk. So if you're ever offered a taste of mad honey, you should definitely say yes. Just be prepared for a wild ride. Now I'm going to leave you with a little food for thought. Is there anything in nature that you think is beautiful but dangerous? Maybe it's a poisonous plant or an aggressive animal. Let me know in the comments section below. And if you liked this video, be sure to check out my channel. We're always coming out with new content that I think you'll love. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. What's the deal with bulletproof bees? Why do they attack ants? Do bees have a secret language? What's the largest bee in the world? Why do bees make honey? How do bees produce their venom? What's the cutest bee? Which country consumes the most honey? What does honey mean? How do bees fly backwards? Why do bees buzz? How does honey turn to wax? Which bee is black and yellow? Why did the bees run away? Why do bees like lavender? Do bees poop? What does bee venom do? Where do bees keep their money? What's the life cycle of a bee? How do bees see? Why do bees land on faces? What's the best way to get rid of bees? How does a bee sting work? What's the biggest threat to bees? What's the best way to attract bees? What do baby bees eat? Why are bees important? What do bees hate? How do bees communicate? What's the difference between a bee and a wasp? Where do bees sleep?